Welcome in, my booklings. This discussion is about Ishiguro's The Buried Giant. Before I set up the characters and the quest for you, I want to reassure you that, as I'm aware, this is a more recent work and about to be adapted by the great Benicio del Toro. I am going to avoid spoilers, despite my strong feeling about the limitations that this sort of spoiler culture puts on good discussion of literature. I still think we can have a good discussion, and I'm going to leave all the good denouements behind the veil for you. So you can rest assured on that score. All right. Well, I read this some time ago, and it has stuck with me, not so much in detail, although, the characters are very memorable, I think, and the setting, and not all the plot points, but I think that this story really stuck with me because it's so different from a regular fantasy quest book in some way. And I think in preparing for today, I think I've kind of maybe got a guess about why. Okay, let's begin with the Warren, and emphasis on the first three letters, WAR. A lot of buzz online about this book is about its allegory of war and this sort of thing. I don't agree that it's an allegory, less so magical realism. What did you think? I do have a genre I think I'd like to slide it into, which will solve some of my musings about this, I think. And I'll try that out on you in a bit. But let's first of all see who we're dealing with. So ostensibly, if this were the quest, the typical quest, hero's journey story, one would think that this would be Wyston's story. Wyston is the Saxon knight, defeats the ogres, goes off in quest of killing the dragon, Querig, whose breath is keeping the countryside in a state of amnesia, and who takes on the orphan boy named Edwin. Yes, Edwin, whose mother was kidnapped, and he wants to go off and find her. Obviously, that's sort of his quest. So these two would seem to be, if this were a regular quest story, the center of it, right? The arc. However, it is, in my mind, very clearly and always stays, they are the travel companions. It stays the story of this couple who are just citizens of the Warren, Axel and Beatrice. They have a marriage with ups and downs. They've lost a son who's gone away. They don't know why. They cannot remember. So let's start with the Warren. Obviously, this is post-Arthurian England. This is feudalistic times, this sort of thing. I very much have a strong memory of the Warren itself, this sort of dark and light. What is the meaning of the dark and the light, the mist? Some would have it that this is all to do with the memory, right? We don't remember our past. We're condemned to repeat it. Afghanistan, the two Iraq wars, etc. Yes, I get all of that, but one doesn't need magical realism. One doesn't need a magical mist to raise the theme of forgetfulness, because we naturally forget. And ultimately, forgetting is key to being human and to maturity and to the ending of this book, in my mind. All right, so let's talk about that. So allegory also, yes. AI says it's both too literal and too vague to be allegory. Clearly, in my mind, citing someone, but AI doesn't cite its sources. I would agree with that. I could see where you could make this into an allegory, but basically, let me throw it out now. I believe that this is a fairy tale with a twist. What do you think of that? Whose fairy tale? Ooh, interesting. There it is. Is this Edwin's? Typical fairy tale, orphan boy, got his mentor knight, the helper, goes off on the quest. But no, this is not a fairy tale about maturing into, sexual maturity, the prick of blood, the menses, the, becoming an adult able to, procreate the species. This is a fairy tale of Axel and Beatrice, this old couple going off into the twilight years. And how do we do that? We need a fairy tale to help us figure out how to do that. And that's what I think this story is really about. All right, what else have we got? So I won't tell you if they find their son, or how they find him, or how he is, if and when indeed they do find him. I will not tell you if Whiston, if Edwin finds his parents, if Whiston defeats Carrig the dragon. I think you can see in the dragon. I think I have I'll just throw out one little piece of evidence. Tell me what you think of this. Am I forcing this, into my idea of this fairy tale thing? Edwin is, on the run because the Warren, this awful Warren, this village, is bitten, and they think he's bitten by ogres, and so they run him out of the village. Basically, he has to leave. But in fact, he's bitten by the baby dragon. So, baby dragon, young dragon, very bites the young protagonist or sidekick, in my estimation. Whereas Carrig is an ancient dragon, old as time, weary. This is the forgetfulness, the source of forgetfulness. And, in the midst of time, Merlin was there and all of this, and Sir Gawain. I won't go into all of that as well. You can read it and to the end and find out what's meant by the pixies dragging them down in the river, what's meant by the hovel that Axel and Beatrice have to live in, and the light and the dark in the Warren. What is the Warren? Is it as awful as the Watership Down that I picture it to be? What is the mist? I think that's enough questions to be getting on with. So hopefully you will read this book and then enjoy all the more the adaptation by Benicio del Toro. And please let me know if you think this is more magical realist than I want to give it credit for, or indeed an allegory of history and war, or indeed whether you think maybe there's a little something to this fairy tale for getting old, getting into the ultimate maturity, which is, at the end of the day, letting go. I will say this. I don't think this will be a big spoiler. So the narrator is the boatman across the river. The question is, will Axel and Beatrice, they have a big problem in their marriage, which sort of played a big role in why their son left. Will these two be able to go across this river to the island, whatever, the island of bliss? Will they be able to cross together? Will they be able to stay together? So why is it you think that the narrator, we eventually find out, ends up being the boatman? And what is this island? All right, thank you.